iPhone 17 Pro Max versus iPhone 16 Pro Max speed test. That video's coming up right now. Let's go. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and coming off the heels of the Galaxy S25 Ultra versus the 17 Pro Max, we're going to take a look at last year's predecessor, the 16 Pro Max, to see if there's any substantial increase or day-to-day improvements in performance. Let's go ahead and begin with a boot up on both of them in 3, 2, go, and see which one can get there first. Now, the iPhone 16 Pro Max is rocking the Apple A18 Pro. They did upgrade to the Apple A19 Pro chip, and the iPhone 16 Pro Max has 8 gigabytes of RAM. On the left, we are looking at 12 gigabytes of RAM. Both of them do house a 6-core GPU, and they both do run iOS 26, the latest official version. So the iPhone 16 Pro Max says, I'm going to boot up faster than you, pumpkin spice. So it boots up like about maybe 2 seconds or so faster, nothing crazy faster. And that could just be because this phone is brand new. I don't know. It boots up faster. We'll give that first W to the 16 Pro Max. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and take a look at biometrics. So with both of these phones, you just have to look at them like so, and they just unlock right in. Very convenient, very fast. And I find with the iPhone Max models, because they're pretty large, it kind of like you're always kind of like being able to be seen with the Face ID versus some smaller models. You might be holding it a little bit in your hand, a little bit more comfortable and awkward. It's just, I feel like I'm always getting it correctly on these Max models. No issues, no difference when unlocking the phone. But when you see here, when we go in, iOS 26 does present a nice animation when flying in right there. Generally kind of scrolling through, the operating system doesn't show any real difference. Both of them are using ProMotion displays, 120 hertz. They're not always running at 120 hertz all the time, but they are very smooth and definitely smoother than prior 60 hertz iPhones. If you're coming from any of the older non-120 hertz 12 Pro Max and earlier, or any base models, either of these are going to be really good. Generally, scrolling through here for the iPhone 17 Pro Max literally feels like the exact same phone. However, the major upgrade here is going to be a higher clock speed on this phone, 4.25 gigahertz over here versus having just a 4.04 gigahertz. And we go up in the RAM department to 12 gigs. Over here, we're at 8 gigs. So that is something to keep in mind in this video. That is a boost for this phone. Over here on the iPhone 16 Pro Max, with the official version of iOS 26, you'll find it to be basically the same exact phone. So if you do decide you're going to dump your iPhone 16 Pro Max, in the real world, you're really going to be seeing more of the performance games if you really push the phone. Again, I feel like I say this every year because they kind of always just add a little bit more CPU speed, more RAM. So you really got to push the phone to really kind of get any benefit from that. But anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Let's go ahead and get into the app test. All right, guys, so we've arrived here at the application test, and you can see everything is closed out for both. Let's go ahead and begin with calendar, and you can see basically the same. I'm going to swipe up out of there. We'll go on the clock, and that's basically the same. When you go through each submenu, no difference. Also, they do have this nice liquid glass effect here on both of them. No difference. We'll swipe up out of there. You'll see even the animation has that same speed. We'll go in the calculator. We'll swipe out. We'll go into App Store. And basically the same. And these also do both have the 6.9-inch displays. So these are upgrades either way. If you're coming from one of the older Maxes in size, these are some big boys right here on the 2. But the iPhone 17 Pro Max is a bit heavier, just a little bit, because it has a slightly bigger battery. Let's go into ChatGPT. That was faster for the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Short info, so I'm going to say iPhone 17 Pro Max, short info, and we'll go ahead and click those at the same time and see what happens. And we got a little bit different layout here, but it looked like the 17 Pro Max was generating that text a little bit faster. Yeah, it is based on your internet performance and ChatGPT servers, but still, it was a little bit faster to do so. On the left, with Grok opening first on the left for the iPhone 17 Pro Max. We'll go to Copilot. I think that was a 17 Pro Max. We'll go into YouTube. Hold on. that didn't click that at the same time. We'll do YouTube. And faster on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. We'll go over here and click movies and TV. And that was faster on the left. We'll hit free. We'll see what's free. And YouTube has been having some pretty good free stuff for premium users in the movie department. Let's go over here and go into Instagram. And we'll see Instagram was first there on the left. We'll go over here, take a look at my previous 17 Pro Max post. And you can see as you go inside here, just start typing up a comment. Let's just say the phone is fire. You'll see once you're in using our applications day to day, it really is no change. So don't be fooled by the CPU upgrades. Where it's really going to shine is maybe in video rendering, also in an extended gaming session to avoid throttling. We're going to go ahead and do some video rendering and gaming a little bit later here. We'll go into Dead Trigger 2, and you'll see Dead Trigger 2 does launch first there on the left. And the iPhone the 17 Pro Max did beat the S25 Ultra by a pretty good margin in the benchmarks, but in the reality, it didn't seem substantially different. Now, a couple of these games, they won't load at exactly the same time because of the count conflicts. The accounts basically cannot log in at the same time. I think it's for Free Fire and a couple of these. But whichever phone gets to the login screen first was the one that loaded it first because it would cancel out the other one. So that's how we're going to figure that out. And let's go ahead and see here. Casual games, no substantial difference for either. We're going to go into Free Fire. And this is the first one that whichever one loads first did win the test here. And it looks like the iPhone 17 Pro Max is in the lead. Nope, the 16 Pro Max was able to get here first. So nothing substantial. Maybe I had to tap to begin first. I'm going to try that one again. I think I'm supposed to tap it. Let's go ahead and do Free Fire one more time. And because the 17 Pro Max was leading, and we'll see what happens here. So if I just tap here, yeah, it was the 17 Pro Max. Just a little bit quicker. Nothing substantial though. Both of these can play games, no problem. And you got to remember, the 15 Pro Max was the one that was kind of getting warm. The iPhone 16 Pro Max already was doing pretty good with thermals. It just got a little bit better here for the 17 Pro Max. And you can see which one's going to make it there first. It looks like it allowed the 16 Pro Max to go ahead and get in there, but they were both basically here at the same time. So I think you're going to be fine whether you're playing on the 16 Pro Max or 17 Pro Max. I don't think you're going to have any substantial, like, I don't even think the average person would even notice, for real, especially on these. These are both the top of the line phones. And we'll see which one can get here first. It looks like it's going to allow PUBG to go in here on the left first, and then I'm gonna have to guess to get here over here. And if I click this, it's gonna cancel this out. But 17 Pro Max was able to pull ahead in that department. Now it's gonna allow the 16 Pro Max to load up here. Give it a second, and it should be going in anytime now. And there it goes. So yeah, faster on PUBG for the 17 Pro Max. Again, I put in some of these more graphically intensive games because these games are the ones where the power will shine through on the newer phone. We'll see Destiny Rising pulling ahead there. But see, this power performance is not like anything life-changing by comparison on both of them. We're talking about some milliseconds here difference to launch. But there we go on the 17 Pro Max. That was a noticeable jump there. But you see, when we're in the game, it doesn't seem to be graphically challenged on either phone, anything like that. When playing, no major problems or nothing like that on either phone for gaming. The warmth, though, will probably be higher on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. So after we launch all these applications, I'm going to go ahead and check the temperature on both. I'll also check the temperature again as we do the benchmarks. That was first on the left, and InShot first slightly on the left. And that launched up first on the left as well, but we got a pop-up, so we're going to rerun that one. and just a hair quicker for the 17 Pro Max. So the 17 Pro Max doesn't feel noticeably faster. It feels a hair quicker in most respects, but nothing noticeable. So if you're upgrading from this phone, come to this phone for a little bit longer battery life and come to this device for a brighter screen. And also the triple 48 megapixel camera setup with further optical range zoom. Those are the reasons to jump over here, because speed, even though the 12 gigabytes of RAM and the boosted CPU seems great on paper, it's not really changing your daily life performance on the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Let's go ahead and check the heat really quickly here. I don't feel any heat, honestly, on this phone, but we'll go ahead and check it anyway. And we'll see what we're getting here. 91, 92. Let's go ahead and flip this around. See where this one's at. Yep, you can see right there, 6 degrees warmer. So definitely that vapor chamber is changing the experience. You've seen that just on opening the apps. The iPhone 16 Pro Max was 6 degrees warmer. Now you start getting up in the hundreds range. That's going to be noticeably less comfortable to hold under a heavier use day versus this phone. So I do like that. I like having that more comfortable, cooler to the touch device, especially if you're a power user. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and run back through the applications, 12 gigabytes of RAM, and see how this does. We'll go over here to Destiny Rising. Everything fine. RTS held. And I think this 12 gigabytes of RAM is going to help for those of you who are just blazing through your apps day to day. You're switching out stuff. You're doing everything on the phone. You're doing Apple Intelligence stuff, visual intelligence stuff. This 12 gigabytes of RAM is setting you up for long-term success in terms of performance day to day. That was pretty fantastic. Let's go ahead and take a look now at the iPhone 16 Pro Max. This never gave me any issues last year either. We'll go ahead and go to iMovie, speed test, 3D Mark. Let's head over here into Geekbench 6. We'll go into Destiny Rising, just reconnect into the game, not a reload. We'll go over here to Free Fire. We are relaunching Race the Sun. We're getting a relaunch there on the Brawl Stars. This is a little bit weird. I don't know why it's shutting down those apps. And then we did get a reload there for Dead Trigger. So iPhone 16 Pro Max has lost this test with its 8 gigabytes of RAM. That was really strange. I don't think I ever seen reloads on some of my prior speed tests with this. So I don't know if it's an iOS 26 thing. The phone was getting a little bit too warm. They throttled it back because of Destiny, maybe, because this game is pretty heavy, demanding. But the iPhone 16 Pro Max lost this test by reloading about 2 or 3 of those applications. And our final scores are in for the Geekbench 6, and you can see 3246 versus 3776 on the left. And you'll see a jump, pretty good amount in the multi-core score, which could explain why we were getting maybe some reloads, but also why the iPhone 17 Pro Max started to pull ahead in a lot of the gaming area. Multi-core score would tell us a little bit more about that. You'll see as we scroll down that the iPhone 17 Pro Max scoring better than some of the best scores you'll find on a 16 Pro Max, but these are not crazy high jumps like some of the prior, if you're coming from the prior versions of the 17 or from the Pro Max lineup. And so here we are with the Wildlife Extreme scores, and you can see that we have a pretty sizable jump there on the iPhone 17 Pro Max, scoring better than 97% of devices on the market, with the iPhone 16 Pro Max scoring better than 78. Now, I think this score went down overall because of, I don't know, I feel like 26 might have slowed this down a little, or maybe it's because we do have the newer phones boosting up now, because this was around 86 before. So let me know what you think the reason why this dropped 8%. It could be because I did all those tests before this, though, and the phone's a little bit warm. So let's go ahead and check the temperature now that they both ran a graphics test. So let's go ahead and put that right there. We'll start with the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Its hottest point under 100 degrees. Pretty good. Its hottest point was at 99.3. So you can see right here, iPhone. Let's go ahead and just go all around the phone and see if we can find its hottest point here. And we topped that at 104.7. So its hottest point was 5 degrees warmer. So it looks like we're seeing something pretty consistent here, that the iPhone 17 Pro Max stays about 6 to 7 degrees cooler to the touch pretty regularly over the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and probably throttles less as well because of that. So yeah, it's not just marketing. That stuff that they talked about in the vapor chamber and that stuff inside the body is boosting the performance pretty noticeably on the 17 Pro Max. That's good for heavy power users for long-term usage. Okay, so I have a 1 minute and 1 second video. This is 4K at 60, and it is the same exact clip. I was covering a quick clip of the iPhone 17 Pro and 17 camera housings. So let's go ahead and see how fast we can actually render out this video. Will the 17 Pro Max pull way ahead of the 16 Pro Max? Let's find out. So all we got to do is click right here where it says save video, and they'll start exporting the project. Look here at the bar. Whichever one finishes first is the phone that is rendering faster. Now on the right is the 16 Pro Max, on the left is the 17 Pro Max, and for some reason the 16 Pro Max is in the lead. I think I know the reason, because the 17 Pro Max is an early test and the iMovie has been updated over several months, and the 16 Pro Max finishes the export first. So see, if you get a phone early, sometimes the apps haven't been optimized yet for the latest chip, so your older phone might be slightly faster just because it has time to been optimized. So right now, as of this early test, the iPhone 17 Pro Max did that a bit slower, which is a little bit strange considering the power, but the reason I said it, pretty sure that's the reason why. Let's go ahead and take a look at the cameras now. Okay guys, so we're gonna go ahead and launch these cameras really quickly to see which one can do this first. 3, 2, go. And I look like the iPhone 17 Pro Max. I actually almost dropped it too. 3, 2, go. That time I think was a 16 Pro Max. And again, yeah, nothing substantially different here, except the zoom length can go further on the iPhone 17 Pro Max, but both are pretty smooth. I do feel like the 17 Pro Max, actually, the 16 Pro Max does this little chop into the ultra wide. Now they actually both do that same bounce. So both of them pretty good, but you are going up 15 times more zoom on the iPhone 17 Pro Max. So if you do want more zoom, you're going to want to go with that 17 Pro Max. If you don't care, I think the iPhone 16 Pro Max will be fine. That wasn't a scuff that something got on there. But we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. But before we do that, let's go ahead and run a Wi-Fi speed test. All right, so they're on the same servers here. We'll start with the iPhone 17 Pro Max and see what happens here. Pulling in right around 390 over 400 now. Now the 17 Pro Max did better than my S25 Ultra using the same server on Wi-Fi, which is a good sign. It usually always lost in this test when I did it. So Apple is doing better with their network performance on their latest iPhones. So if you use your phone primarily as the intended purpose of phone, you definitely are going to have stronger signal and just a little bit more reliability in this aspect. They are getting better here. You can see the 16 Pro Max, 228, 227. Looks like it's going to take the L in this one as well. So, you could see some of these small things, they're all adding up to make this this pumpkin phone over here a little bit sweeter, if you will. So definitely the iPhone winning in the upload. The 17 Pro Max just has all the little things that just going to make it a little bit better. And those little things include a little bit bigger battery, a little bit more RAM, a little bit better camera setup here with a good amount more zoom. Definitely a lot more pop with the color, a little bit different design with this glass here and the plateau, but still the triple camera we're used to. Yeah, I feel like it does do more to make it a little bit more desirable than the 16 Pro Max, unless you're really in love with titanium. Then the 16 Pro Max just looks cleaner to me. But yeah, there's no rush to upgrade if you have the 16 Pro Max. But if you wanted to sell it off and get a good, really good resale value on it, you probably could get this for much less money if you do want those features. Other than that, 16 Pro Max held its own. I'm still very impressed. And if you just got it, you're good to go for several years to come. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know your thoughts on these two down below in the comments section. I'll catch you on the next episode. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.